Hare Rama, Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare. चिंतं अपरिमेयं च प्रलयन्तं उपाश्रितः कामोपभोगपरमा एतवादिति निश्चितः आशापाशसतिर्बद्धा कामक्रोधपरायणा इहन्ते कामभोगार्थं अन्यायेन अर्थसंशयान्. So here in these verses of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is describing the mentality of demoniac people. At how these demoniac people, they think about life. As we know that everyone in this material world has some conception about life. We go on asking different people, they will answer differently. According to their knowledge, realization, they think life is such and such. But we see there are mainly two kinds of people in this material world. Those who have faith on God, they are called godly or devas. And those who have no faith on God, they are called demoniac, asura. Though we see the asuras or demoniac people, they are also very knowledgeable in the scriptures, like Ravana. Ravana was very knowledgeable of the scriptures. But he is considered a demon because he did not believe in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Though Ravana was worshipping Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, but he was not worshipping Lord Vishnu or not even accepting that Vishnu is the Supreme. That's why he is called a demon. So here the mentality of the demons have been described in Bhagavad Gita, that how these demoniac people who have no faith on God, they think about life. So chintang aparimeyam pralayantam upasrita kamapabhoga parama. These demoniac people, they are always in great anxiety and fear. Like Ravana, though he was very powerful, but he was in great anxiety and fear also of Lord Ramchandra. So these people, they are always in great anxiety and fear. Why? Because they have a conception of life that the life is meant for sense enjoyment. Kamapabhoga parama. This is the goal of life. They have taken the sense enjoyment as the goal of life. And thinking in this way and endeavoring for sense enjoyment, then they have to, this is the nature of sense enjoyment in this material world. That when one tries for sense enjoyment, next thing comes misery. It is followed by material miseries. This is the nature of this material world. That's why it is called dukkhalayam asasvatam. This is a place of misery and this is temporary. Because this material world is also considered Maithunagara. means a place for sex enjoyment. And this is actually the root cause of our problems in this material world. That those who come here to this material world, though there are different kinds of sense enjoyment, but they think the best kind of sense enjoyment is sex enjoyment. That's why it is called Maithunagar. They think this is the highest enjoyment they can get in this material world. Actually, whole world is working because of this goal of having sex enjoyment. Otherwise, people would not work so hard. Because they think, if I have to get this enjoyment, then I have to work hard. I have to earn money by hook or by crook, and then I can enjoy life. And because they have no conception about life after death, because they don't believe in God or God's creation, so they have no faith that there is life after death, though it has been described in the scriptures. Still they have no faith on the scriptures. And since they think that there is no life after death, then they follow the path of sense enjoyment propagated by, what is that philosopher? Charvak. This was Charvak's philosophy, atheistic philosophy. Javat jivet sukham jivet. Charvak says, this is atheistic philosophy, so he says, as long as you live happily. Javat jivet sukham jivet. Runam krutta ghrutam pivet. And if you have no money, you borrow. But you must drink ghee or eat ghee. But at least Charvak must be a vegetarian. So he is telling not to eat meat or fish. He said, borrow money and eat ghee. So at least this is a good suggestion that he is telling to eat ghee, not meat and fish. But anyway, he was an atheist. So it shows that maybe in previous ages people were vegetarian. Otherwise Charvak would have said you eat meat and fish. So anyway, then he says, Bhasmi bhutasya dehasya punaragamanam kuta. Then Charvak says that these people, they are telling there is a life after death. But how is it possible that when someone dies, then we see either they will burn his body or bury his body in the earth, so then the body will be destroyed. Then when the body is destroyed, then how the body is going to take birth again? It is not possible. Because Charvak was thinking there is no soul, only body is everything. So he had no conception of soul. That's why he is telling this, when body is destroyed, then who is going to take birth again? And this is actually the mentality of many people. Those who do not believe life after death, they think, oh, body is destroyed, how the body is going to take birth again? But they don't know that the body is being activated because of the presence of the soul. Because the soul is there inside the body, that's why the body is talking, body is walking, body is eating. Everything we do with the body. And the soul leaves the body, then the body becomes useless. And we burn it or bury it, whatever it may be. So that means the body is not so important as the soul, because the soul is the living force within the body. But because these demoniac people, they have no conception about this. They say they don't believe on the life after death. And since they don't believe life after death, then they think, okay, Javat Jivet Sukham Jivet. Then if there is no life after death, or we are not responsible for our karma or activity, then why to fear? Then you do whatever you like and just try to enjoy life. Be happy in this material world. There is no need of austerity, no need of following rules and regulations. Just earn money by hook or by crook and enjoy. So this is the atheistic philosophy. The demoniac people, they accept and they propagate also, same way. And since they have no conception about life after death, that's why they commit so many sinful activities to earn money illegally. Annayena artha sanchaya. It has been stated here. That by illegal means they earn money just to enjoy life. And because of that, they have also asa pasa satayir, hundreds of thousands of desires to enjoy life, because they feel that when they are trying to enjoy in one way and they are not satisfied, then think, oh, I can become more happy with this way, they try the other way. In this way, they try in different ways to become happy. But they don't know that the nature of this material world is that no one can become happy in this material world. As long as we are pursuing the path of sense gratification, we can never become happy in this material world, because the material world has been designed like that. And those who are coming to this material world, they all wanted to enjoy. We all have come to this material world because of this conception. We wanted to enjoy. And we wanted to enjoy without Krishna. That's why Krishna has sent us to this material world. But those who are intelligent, those who understand that even if they are trying in so many ways to become happy in this material world, still they cannot become happy. Then they think that maybe there is some other way to become happy. And they want to get rid of these miseries, material miseries. Because of this material miseries, we are in great anxiety and fear. That's why this is called the place of kunthas, anxieties. And the Vaikuntha is just opposite. The spiritual world is free from anxieties and fear. And the 2/3 of this total creation is the spiritual world. And only in this 1/3 of this creation we are suffering. So that means there is better enjoyment in the spiritual world, where there is no anxiety and fear. Here we have so many anxieties because of our material distress, and that's why we are very fearful. And Prabhupada gives the example that people, they don't want to die. They don't want to become old. They always want to remain young, so they can enjoy life. But we see that even if we have this desire not to become old and not to die, not to suffer from any disease, but still we can see this, that we have to suffer from different kinds of diseases. We have to grow old and one day we have to die. So people are afraid of this thing. Because of this, they are fearful. They are fearful of death. They are fearful of old age suffering. They are fearful of different kinds of diseases. So this is a material world where we cannot actually live peacefully, even if we try to enjoy in so many ways. Still, we cannot really become happy because our so-called sense gratification is followed by material distress. And then, when we say that there is a spiritual world where there is no such distress, no such anxiety, that means the spiritual world is free from all these things. Birth, old age, disease and death, which we want here in this material world, actually that is available. We are looking for these things in the material world. How I can become free from death, from old age, from disease. But we can get this in the spiritual world only. Because that is the place for eternal enjoyment. And because we have no experience of that eternal enjoyment, that's why here in this material world, we are trying in so many ways to become happy and gratify our senses. And with that, we suffer unlimitedly. And then we become bound up by actions and reactions. Actions and reactions. And even if we don't believe life after death, we are forced to take birth again. We are forced to suffer again and again in 84 lakh species of life. Whether we believe on Krishna or not, or whether we believe that there is life after death or not, does not matter. The law of nature will work on everyone, whether he believes it or not. That's why those who are intelligent, they understand that why they are suffering and how can they get out of this suffering. And then Krishna gives all informations in Bhagavad Gita that how one can get out from this material world, how one can get out of this material suffering, and how one can enter into a life of eternal enjoyment. And to enter into that life of eternal enjoyment, then we have to practice in this material world. We have to change our mentality of sense enjoyment. That's why in the beginning of the creation, when Krishna instructed Brahma, the first thing he instructed Brahma, because when Brahma wanted to know who is he, who is his creator and what is his duty, he did not know anything. He was in ignorance. The first thing Krishna instructed to Brahma to perform austerity, tapasya. And why to perform austerity? To purify our existence. Then one will be eligible to understand actually the real goal of life. That's why one has to resist from the sense gratification, because if someone is very intelligent, he can think that he has sinned. By trying to become happy through sense enjoyment, he is only suffering. Not only in this life, life after life. Of course, we may not know that how much we suffered in our last life or how much we will suffer in our next life. But at least we have some experience in this material world, in this life. From that experience, one can understand that even if I am trying to become happy, but as a result, though I may get little happiness, that is okay, but it is followed by so much miseries, so much suffering. Then how can I become happy eternally? I don't want this temporary happiness. Because in material world only temporary happiness is available. But since we are eternal, the soul is eternal, and the soul is always seeking pleasure. Because the soul is part and parcel of the Supreme Soul, Krishna, who is Raso Vaisa, who is actually the mellow personified, rasa personified, happiness personified. And since we are part and parcel, it is natural for us to think or want about eternal happiness. We will never be satisfied with temporary happiness. So we want eternal happiness. So anyone who is intelligent, he can think about this thing. How can I eternally be happy? And then when one desires to become eternally happy, then he can search through the scriptures. So he can associate with the saintly persons, and then he can get to know that how actually one can become happy. So Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, by describing the natures of the demons and devotees, the divine and demoniac natures, Krishna is explaining in this chapter. So when one will study the instructions of Bhagavad Gita or hear the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, then by describing these natures of two kinds of people, those who are devotees, those who are non-devotees, then Krishna is actually inspiring them to have these qualities, to know about Krishna and how to attain Krishna's abode. Because unless one attains these qualities of divine nature, one cannot actually go to Krishna or even follow correctly the instruction of Krishna to attain his lotus feet. That's why this is the basic necessity. That whatever demoniac qualities we have to give it up in the association of Krishna's devotees and follow Krishna's instruction to get these divine qualities within ourselves through the process of purification. And when we get these qualities, naturally we'll be inclined to follow Krishna's instruction and attain that life of eternal happiness, even while staying in this material world and after death attaining the spiritual world. So those devotees who are practicing in their daily life Krishna's instruction, who have acquired these divine qualities through their practice and always observed in Krishna consciousness, they are actually aloof. Though they are living in this material world, still they are aloof from this material world. And in that way, they are actually, even while staying in this material world, they get that happiness which is derived from Krishna's association. Because only Krishna can give us that happiness, eternal happiness, which is free from this bodily sense gratification. Because body is temporary and bodily sense gratification is also temporary. So we can never become eternally happy through this bodily sense gratification. since the soul is eternal, and when we can get happiness by connecting our soul with the super soul, so there we find eternal happiness in that connection of the soul with the super soul, or the dealings between the soul and the super soul. There will be eternal happiness because the soul and the supreme soul, they are all eternal. So their happiness derived from them is also eternal. So in this way we can actually attain the platform of self-realization. Means understanding that I am the spirit soul, I am not this body, and as a spirit soul, my supreme duty is to serve the supreme soul. Then only we can derive happiness. And when someone does this sincerely, in the association of sincere devotees, then he can actually attain happiness, eternal happiness in this life. Though initially, when we are trying to attain that eternal happiness, so there may be so many desires, like those who are on the bodily platform, they have so many desires. And these desires are actually leading one to commit so many sinful activities. Because when someone wants to fulfill his desires, then he can do it by hook or by crook, and then become entangled in sinful reactions. But anyone who wants to have eternal happiness, then one has to abstain from these sinful reactions, and abstain also from material desires. And to remain aloof from material desires is not very easy, because we have been associating with material nature for so many lifetimes. So this is very deep rooted. Desire is there for material sense gratification. But by constant practice and detachment, like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, vairagyena abhyasena. Abhyasena tu kanteya vairagyena chagiyate. By constant practice and detachment, one can overcome this lust, anger, greed, which is the actually door to hell. Door to hell means door to suffering. Because we are trying to gratify our senses, try to satisfy our lust, satisfy our anger, satisfy our greed. Naturally, then we will be leading a hellish life. So one has to practice detachment and constantly try to cultivate Krishna consciousness. That is the way to get rid of this demoniac mentality. So here Krishna is pointing out that kamapabhoga parama etavat iti nischitaha. That these demoniac people, they try to gratify their senses pralayantam. Pralaya means death. Until one's death. Like Prabhupada gives the example, that old man who was requesting the doctor or physician to prolong his life for 4 more years so he can fulfill his plans. It's so much attachment and desires are there to fulfill. And there is no end to it. Even one fulfills one desire, then another desire develops. So in this way, one is entangled with so many desires, network of desires. And that is actually the cause of our suffering, because we have so many desires. So, the demoniac people, because they have accepted that life's goal is to gratify the senses until the time of death. That's why they are always in anxiety and fear, that lest death may come, I will not be able to fulfill my desire. So they are in great fear of death. And they are in great anxiety because they are suffering in this material world while trying to gratify their senses, and they don't know what will happen next to them. When they get a disease at any moment, they may die. When they get to old age, they go on suffering of old age. So in this way, they suffer and always in anxiety until the time of death. And because they have so many desires, asa pasa satere baddha, kama krodha parayana. And because they have lost and they want to satisfy their lust, and they want to satisfy their anger, that's why they have so many desires, and they think to satisfy our lust and anger, then I have to earn money by hook or by crook, and then I can become happy. But it is the nature of the material world that no one can become happy, even if they try or even if they have enough money. We see those who are crore-patis, they have crores of rupees. They are also not happy. They are always also in anxiety. Even if they have money, still they are in anxiety and fear. So then, how is it possible that by earning money we can become happy or gratify our senses? That's why this material sense gratification cannot actually bring real happiness to the demoniac people. But they don't understand that because of their demoniac nature. And even if people have faith on God, we see many people have faith on God, but they have also this mentality. They also want to gratify their senses. So then, how can we discriminate who is demoniac and who is not demoniac? Though someone is believing on God, but still he have this demoniac tendency to gratify his senses. But at least these people, those who have faith on God, though they have this mentality, they can rectify that mentality through the association of devotees. Those who are believing on God and God's instructions. So they have a hope. But these demoniac people, they have no hope. because they don't believe in God or they don't believe in Lord's devotees. They think the devotees of the Lord are also their enemy like the Supreme Lord. That's why they have no opportunity to associate with the devotees. So there is no question of rectification for them. And they will glide down to the hellish condition of life. But those who have faith on Krishna, but still they have these tendencies to enjoy sense gratification, they have some hope. By devotee association, they can understand and they can learn how to control their senses and how to change the goal of their life to serve Krishna, and they can also become happy by changing their mentality in this way. So there is a hope for these people. That's the responsibility of the devotees in Krishna consciousness movement is much greater in that respect, to become serious themselves and give their serious association to others who are trying to rectify their mentality and want to have a life of eternal enjoyment. That's why Srila Prabhupada, when he started this movement, he knew very well that some people are atheistic, but there are so many people, those who believe in God, but they have this tendency of sense gratification. That's why they have forgotten God. So how to bring them to Krishna consciousness? That's why Prabhupada wrote so many books. He gave his personal association, he opened centers, he created so many devotees. And it is the duty of all the devotees of Krishna consciousness movement to give the same association to others, to bring them to Krishna consciousness, and those who have come to Krishna consciousness also to maintain them is also very important. And that can be done by our sincerity. If we are sincere in Krishna consciousness and practicing strictly, then we can give that association to the newcomers or even the old devotees who are not very serious, or those who are in the clutches of Maya. So this is our duty to actually save them from the clutches of Maya and keep them in Krishna consciousness so they can make their life perfect. Hare Krishna. Is there any questions or comments? Yes. Speak in mic, they all want to hear your question.
Senior devotee respect to senior devotee Krishna class is very so fast. Design, material design, all Krishna class engage. Little name, fame, that senior devotee respect.
You see, there are three kinds of devotees.
So the junior devotee is a sincerity, very follow that is Prabhupada rules, their Krishna against service. That is respect. Senior devotee, no serious all the name, fame, Krishna consciousness.
So you are telling that a junior devotee is sincerely trying to follow Krishna consciousness, but a senior devotee, he is performing his duties for name and fame and other things, all material desires he has. So, what is your question? What is your question? So this is the question. Okay. So, as I said, there are three kinds of devotees. Those devotees, let me first explain these three kinds of devotees. Devotees in the mode of ignorance, devotees in the mode of passion, devotees in the mode of goodness, and devotees in the mode of pure goodness. So when we say devotee, means he should be in pure goodness. Real devotee. Anya vilasita sunna jnana karma adi anavrutam. That applies to that devotee who is in pure goodness. But if a devotee is when he is in goodness, but he has still desire how to get rid of material distress and get liberation. So he is in the mode of goodness. And those devotees who want name and fame, like you said, and some material enjoyment through devotional service, they are in the mode of passion. And those devotees who are always very angry, very lusty, and who are always envious of others. So these devotees, they are in the mode of ignorance. And these three kinds of devotees have their different destination. The devotees who are in the mode of ignorance, their destination is not Golok Vrindavan. If they will die in that mode, they will not try to come up to mode of pure goodness. They will still remain in the mode of ignorance. Then their goal is Pitruloka. Do you know where is Pitruloka? Where is Pitruloka? Who can say? Near Jamaloka. No, that is actually Pitruloka is near Narkoloka. So Jamaloka is near Narkoloka, so that is near, Pitruloka is near Narka, hellish planets. That means when you go to Pitruloka, you will hear all the suffering sounds from the hellish planets. Understand? And those who are in the mode of passion, they want name, fame, material sense gratification through devotional service. If they die in that state of mind, their goal is heavenly planet. They go to heavenly planet. After they enjoy for some time, they will come back again. Suchinang simatange yoga frashta vidayate. Those who are in the mode of goodness, their destination is Brahmaloka. But those who are in pure goodness, they can only go to the spiritual world. So generally we have consciousness, now we have become devotees, so we will go to spiritual world. Not very easy. It depends upon our purification, in what mode we are, and whether we are free from material desires. Free from material desires means sex desire. That is the foremost material desire. Unless we become free from sex desire, then only we cannot go to spiritual world. Because there is no sex life in spiritual world. There is pure love. So no material desire. Then only we can go to spiritual world. That means we have to come to the stage of pure goodness. Then only we can go back to Krishna. Otherwise, we will be coming back again and again until we come to this stage. What is that?
Details in material engage Krishna service. Krishna service.
We employ our material desires in Krishna service. For example,
Gurvastha, married. Devotees engage service.
no, Grihastha can be engaged in Krishna service, no problem. It all depends upon the mentality. A Grihastha may be engaged in Krishna service for money. That is not pure devotional service. Our devotional service should be to please Krishna, not for a personal motive. That if I serve Krishna, I will get this benefit, that benefit, that benefit. Without expecting anything for personal self. We just serve Krishna for his pleasure. If a Grihastha has that mentality, no problem. He can be a pure devotee, no problem. It does not depend on Grihastha Brahmachari. It depends on the mind. That how much we are surrendered to Krishna and we are working for Krishna's pleasure. Okay? Hare Krishna. Yes.
As atheistic and those who are atheistic, they also sometimes visit to a temple. They say that okay, we will go here for a name and fame. They go in different pilgrims and visit the temples and this one. So what would you call upon those?
Generally atheistic people, they don't come to the temple. If someone is coming, means he is not pure atheistic. But anyway, if someone comes to the temple, he gets some mercy of the Lord by getting darshan of the Lord, and that will be converted into Sukruti. So maybe this lifetime or next lifetime, he may come to Krishna consciousness just by visiting the temple. Because by the mercy of Krishna and his devotees, only one can come to Krishna consciousness. Otherwise not possible.
You see, Maharaj, during Janmashtami time, there are so many people, they come for Abhishek and other things. But that is only for that particular day. Then the whole year they cannot come and visit the temple and see the temple.
Anyway, they get some sukruti for that. Whatever they do, even they bring some water, some flower, some garland, or some milk, or some anything, or even giving donation for the service. They are getting sukruti for this. And that will lead them to devotional service one day. Even if they are not coming whole day to the temple, a whole year.
First time when we discussed the Demonia, there was some mention of Ravana. Ravana becomes a great devotee of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is a Vaishnavanam Yada Sambhu, Asutos. He cannot find the fault with anyone. And even Brahma also coming from Gabodha Sai Vishnu. He gives the boon to Hiranyakasipu. How come they give such a boon? They can advise them, they can do something for the demoniac people's way they give the boon like this.
You see, though Lord Shiva is a great Vaishnava, But generally people go to him for material, fulfilling material desires. And they ask Lord Shiva for fulfilling their material desires. So Lord Shiva has two kinds of mercy. One kind of mercy is, we say, kapat kripa, means mercy with conceit. Conceit means that is not a real mercy, because they are asking something material, because Lord Shiva is always observed in the thought of Krishna, and these people are going to disturb him. Give me this, he is asking, give me this, give me that. These people are all disturbing. So what Lord Shiva does? Okay, take, go away from here. Leave me alone. So because they are asking some material things, Lord Shiva thinks they are all fools. They are coming to him when he can give pure devotional service. These foolish people coming with some material desires. So he just gives them. That is not the real mercy of Lord Shiva to them. But those who go to Shiva, worship Lord Shiva with devotion and don't ask him anything, for them Lord Shiva gives the real mercy. That is Krishna Bhakti. Ravan always wanted something material. He did not worship Shiva for just devotion, outdoor devotion. Hiranyakasipu had also desire. So they all the demons, they had material desires. That's why they did not get bhakti.
Because this morning Maharaj
Krishna.
given one statement. Whatever we want, Krishna not give. What we need, Krishna will give.
That is for devotees. He was not speaking about demons. He was speaking about devotees. Hare Krishna.